And welcome back to today's video. It's JMA Friday, which means we're going to do the long range look ahead from the Japanese model, taking us through the next month, which will be taking us into the first week of May. Can you believe? Getting well on into the spring now, and we'll soon actually be having to start thinking about summer, won't we? So, yep, we're doing the JMA month ahead forecast. Also going to have a look at what's going on for Easter. The charts have changed a little bit on this cold snap that could have been coming up for the end of next week. We'll have a look at all the detail in a moment. Before I get on with the video though, just say about the advertising. There's video ads on my pages at gazworthies.com. If you hit play on the video ad, you'll be supporting gazworthies.com. Thanks so much for doing that. Also got the content ads, which are links to articles, so just click through the link you see in the article that you're interested in. You'll be able to go off and read the article, and at the same time Gazworthies will get royalty fee on what you're doing. Thanks so much for doing these things. Website, it makes a big difference to the website. It pays website essentially allows me to sit here and talk to you via the website. So thanks very much for getting involved and doing that. So I'm going to start off with the JMA month ahead forecast, as we do every Friday, although these charts are now updating on a Wednesday, they seem to be for some reason, but it's more useful because Wednesday is the 5-day forecast day on Gazworthies, so it's useful to hold them over and to carry on with JMA Friday. So these are broken down into weekly periods for the next month. The first week will be taking us from the 10th to the 17th of April. 500 millibar heights, as you know. Blue colours indicating below average heights, which is low pressure. Yellow and orange indicating above average heights, which is high pressure. Also, the British Isles is upside down. We're just here. So it's a little bit difficult to make out what is going on, particularly on these earlier charts. But what we're seeing here is that we've got a big area of above average height sitting just to the south and to the southwest of the country. A nice area of high pressure sitting in the Atlantic, and down to the south we've got below average heights up to the north area of low pressure, and we've got quite a strong jet stream coming across the Atlantic, but it is going to the north more or less of the country. So away from northern and western parts of the country, the coming week looks actually quite settled, I think, for the most parts of the British Isles. And this is the week that we're currently in, of course. A lot of anticyclonic influences, particularly the further south you go. Always a little bit more unsettled up to the north with that trough of low pressure. But overall, a lot of dry sort of anticyclonic conditions. I think that's a pretty good reflection of the week that we're currently in. As we go through to the second weekly period, which is the 17th to the 24th of April, then we get a little bit of a change. We lose the heights somewhat to the south of the country, and we bring more of an influence in from the below average heights up to the north. So it is turning a little bit more unsettled there. Not a washout by any means. It's not a deep trough of low pressure, but certainly we are losing the intensity of the colours to the south. So we've not really got that area of high pressure to the south of the country, and it's a little bit more unsettled from the northwest. So that weekly period from the 17th to the 24th could be a bit more unsettled, particularly the further north and west you go. Not too bad in the south and southeast, but probably more rain than we'd be used to coming through at times. It could be a little bit cooler as well because the jet stream is coming back southwards around that trough of low pressure, so the jet stream starts running over the country as opposed to being to the north. As I say, it's not a washout, but it's a little bit more unsettled. And as we get to the 3rd and the 4th weeks, which is taking us from the 24th of April to the 8th of May, so into the first week of May, then we're seeing the trough splitting, and we're getting some energy going off to the south. The cut-off low is developing to the south of the country. We've still got low pressure up to the north around Greenland and Iceland. And then we've got this little area of yellow out just there in the Atlantic. That could be a ridge of high pressure building in between those two troughs. So actually, although it doesn't particularly look it through that period, I think that could be turning increasingly settled through late April into the start of May, with high pressure starting to ridge in off the Atlantic. What we have got to watch out for with that, though, is with the trough of low pressure to the south, we could be bringing in easterly winds. Of course, easterly winds in May, not too bad for the west of the country where you're sheltered from the easterly, but in the east that can drag in a lot of low cloud, mist, sort of fog type conditions to those eastern coasts. So for eastern parts, maybe not so good for the start of May, but for western areas wouldn't be too bad. And I think overall, after that more unsettling interlude from the 17th to 24th, probably settling down as we go through to the end of April and into the start of May. Just have a quick look at the CFS 500 millibar height anomaly charts from the website weatherweb.net. These are for monthly periods. This first monthly period is for April, and by the way, you can find the link to weatherweb.net on my links page. Yeah, we've got high pressure to the south of the country and low pressure up to the north. So based on what we were just seeing with the JMA, that's a pretty good agreement between the CFS and the JMA for April. The jet stream again, quite a strong jet stream coming across the Atlantic, but generally just to the north of the country, and overall it's really quite a settled looking scene for April, and that's pretty good agreement between the two models. Now, as we go through to May, it's a little bit harder to make out what's going on there, but I think we've still got some suggestion of high pressure around Greenland, out to the west of the country. Got this trough of low pressure to the south. There's probably some sort of trough here within the flow, but it's a very weak trough, so it wouldn't be a washout, but maybe a little bit more unsettled going through to May. And then as we go on to June, we can go out to June with this. Well, that's a little bit concerning for June, but it's 3 months away. It's right at the end of the as far as it goes at weatherweb.net with these charts. But the suggestion is that there's a lot of northern blocking setting up there around Greenland for June. We've got low pressure in the Atlantic with this area of blue, and the jet stream is tracking south as well. We're probably on the cool side of the jet there with that trough of low pressure underneath this blocking area of high pressure over Greenland. So that's a pretty poor anomaly for June. It would be rather unsettled. It would be cool as well because we're on the cool side of the jet. Northern blocking in summer, high pressure around Greenland, Iceland, the North Pole is always a bad sign for us, or nearly always a bad sign for us, because you tend to get a trough of low pressure setting up underneath it, and we are underneath that blocking. So yeah, it's never a good sign to get northern blocking in summer, and if that came off, we would be looking at a much cooler and more unsettled June. But it's a long way off. These charts do update daily at weatherweb.net, so I'm sure tomorrow's update will probably be showing something different. Finally, let's just have a quick look at Easter. You can start off with the GFS first of all. Now, yes, you remember the GFS was sort of suggesting that we could get quite a potent cold snap in the second half of next week, just in that pre-Easter period. It's not really going for it this morning. For Wednesday next week, 16th of April, we bring this trough of low pressure through across the country, and that keeps us in a westerly flow actually as we go through to the 17th of April. That will be a little bit more unsettled, particularly to the northwest, but not particularly cold. It's quite a flat sort of flow. The ice bars, if you follow them back, are originating from around Newfoundland, so it's not mild. It is cooler than we've been used to. But it's not cold. It's not that northerly blasting down from the North Pole that it was showing yesterday. And that's how we go into Good Friday, the 18th of April. Again, bringing that trough of low pressure through, would be unsettled in the north, but we're still in generally a flat westerly flow, so not particularly cold. Go through to Saturday the 19th on into Easter Monday the 21st of April, and generally we're keeping the isobars coming from a westerly direction. We're keeping it flat. As I say, it is cooler. If you follow the isobars back, they're going off towards the south of Greenland and around Newfoundland, so it's not mild by any means. It is cooler than we've been used to over Easter, and probably a little bit more unsettled with showers, longer spells of rain, particularly in the north. But again, it's not the northerly that was blasting down across the country yesterday on the GFS. Nevertheless, it's cooler and more unsettled for Easter. And of course, that ties in quite nicely what we were just looking at from the JMA model, because for that period from the 17th to the 24th, the suggestion was that it would turn more unsettled. So there we are, the GFS is definitely seeing that for that weekly period. But then as we go through to the end of April, probably building the high pressure back in for the end of April and the start of May. That's what the JMA was suggesting anyway. For the East MWF, finally, the high pressure is there through the early part of next week, still hanging on through to Wednesday the 16th. Let's go through to Thursday the 17th, probably bringing a trough across the country, although it is quite weak, but it's probably enough to bring some outbreaks of rain through on Maundy Thursday. As we go into Good Friday, again, it's this sort of flat westerly flow, not too bad really, more unsettled in the north, mainly settled in the south, and that's how we keep things going in Saturday the 19th. We've got deep area of low pressure for the time of year to the north of Scotland, bringing this westerly flow through across the country, so it's more unsettled up in the north. It's a little bit cooler, but it isn't cold. We're not in a northerly wind. As you go through to Easter Sunday and on into Easter Monday, well, again, it's sort of it's more unsettled, it's more cooler than we've been used to, but it's not a washout. There will still be useful dry weather, and whilst it is a little bit cooler, it's not particularly cold. So we have seen a bit of a toning down, particularly from the JFS. ECMWF, of course, didn't go for it yesterday, but we have seen a toning down from the JFS on that idea of a northerly blasting down later on next week. It was looking very potent yesterday. That northerly would have produced a lot of frost and probably even cold enough wintry showers in the north. So probably good news that it's toned it down, really, because there's a lot of spring blossom and the delicate plants coming up now, of course. So probably good news it's toned it down. Maybe looking at more unsettled type conditions for the Easter period, but I have to emphasise not a sort of washout Easter weekend by any means on this morning's evidence anyway. That's it for now. Hope you found the video interesting. We'll be doing the weekend forecast tomorrow, so come back for that. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.